Hey, buddy.
Without the right equipment, what do you... Whoa, now. You're gonna be mighty handsome. Hey! Move it! What a boy you are. You and me, fella. You. Easy there. Come on, boy. You're tough. Not the time. Boy. Relax. Good fella.
I know. Must hurt like crazy. Easy. Just my luck. Whoa! Hey, whoa! Now you got to be kidding me!
Want some help?
Please, sir. Can you help me get my horse back? She bolted on me.
Gotcha. You got a temper on you. You're an angry one. Come on, Fed.
Yes, is that my horse? Oh, thank you, mister. I can't tell you how grateful I am. I'm sorry. I ain't got nothing to offer you in return, but I'll make it up to you one day, I swear.
That's all right. Hey, hey, easy. Easy now. Let up.
Expect to catch, huh?
No. Jake. Yep. Gotcha. Swim away, little buddy. How's about this? Come on. Okay, let's see what's what down there. Yeah, you're all right. Here we go. I'm gonna let you go. That's set. We made it last. Uh-huh. Who's biting? Hook set. Got you, partner. You're quite a nice bass. Worth a shot. You're on. Ain't no bait on it. Anyone hungry then? Got something. got it. You can go. Let's try this.
You're okay.
Okay. Gotta bait the hook. You're okay. Now we're fishing. Fatten up for next time. Got it. You're in luck.
Welcome to this episode of Rio Ferdinand Presents, guys. Yes, we've had the big weekend, the first weekend of Premier League football just gone on. Man United have been beat by Arsenal. And we're going to discuss that with my guys, Mr. Joel Bayer and Steve Howson. But one of the things that is quite crazy about this first weekend, in Man United and Arsenal especially, Man United fans are quite positive after a 1-0 defeat, me included. But Arsenal fans have won one in at Old Trafford and are a bit despondent. So let's get into it, guys. What's going on? How was your weekend, guys?
That was great. Steve, how was yours?
All right, Paddock went 5 games, 5 wins in the league, absolutely flying in our newly promoted league, and I was at Oasis last night, so the losing to Arsenal, which I expected anyway, is merely a blip on a great weekend.
Obviously, Joel, look, your face is beaming. I can see the positivity in your face. But let's start with Manchester United. And I think everyone's been talking about the forwards, and yeah, rightly so, but I always believe there's a foundation behind good forward play. And I thought at the weekend, the defence looked like there was a bit more kind of a method to the madness, and I thought that Lenny Yoro and Luke Shaw especially, how comfortable they look now, how much of an improvement they are. They look fitter, they look stronger, they look more composed in defensive situations as well. That sets the foundation and the springboards for us to be able to attack, and for those prominent forwards that we're hopefully going to now see a much more consistent output from. But I think when those forwards are looking back behind them, they wasn't thinking, are they getting tight enough? Are they too tight? Are they going to get rolled? And I think when you get that kind of reaction from the players in front of defenders, it almost kind of makes people half step and go a half a second later. So then things then change and don't become as consistent throughout the team. And I thought that was one of the pleasing things for me. And what I did like, that platform from behind and that confidence from behind allows, especially on the right-hand side, when you bring an Ahmad on, who plays right wing-back, he goes and plays like a right winger, and Bumo comes inside a little bit more in that Salah position, inside right position, to be closer to goal, closer to Sesko. And then you've got Cunha freed up, a bit more of a free runner, a bit more of a fluidity about the way he plays from that left-hand side. It made us look a lot more of a threat against probably the best unit defensively in the league, especially with the 2 centre-backs and the goalkeeper. So that filled me with a lot of confidence and optimism for the rest of the season. If we play like we played yesterday, we didn't get the result. If we play like that again and continuously and keep improving, I think it's going to be a season to be a lot more proud of than it has been the last couple of years.
I thought the way the game went was completely different to how I thought the game was going to go. I thought Arsenal would take the ball, stick it on us, United would play off the back foot, and even though I thought it would be relatively close, I thought we would ultimately come out losing. That's not how it went down. Arsenal didn't lay a glove on United. And you can talk about contentious refereeing decisions at both ends of the pitch, which could have swung that game entirely 180. And the reason that United fans are happy after that game, I won't say happy because we're not happy after losing. We're encouraged, I think. We're encouraged. I think we're surprised and pleased with what we saw because we know what's going to come. Performances get results. You can get result, but if the performance that underlies that result isn't good, you're going to end up getting the results you deserve. And the same thing with performances. If the performances are strong, ultimately you start getting strong results from those performances.
All right.
And if United played 37 games, in the manner that we played that game yesterday, we will not be 15th next season. That's why United fans are encouraged. But I want to pick up on what you were saying about the defenders. Lenny Yoro yesterday played like a £100 million defender. He was good with the ball. He was winning every single thing in the air. There was a ton of interceptions. I thought it was mad chaotic. It was effective. It was clearly on the front foot. But I can see so many high-scoring games with United if that's how we're going to attempt to defend in that sort of aggressive manner. What do you reckon?
Wait. Look, excellent game. I thought the lit was immense, but $100 million player. Just let's calm down a little bit. Yeah, Lenny Yoro. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, but let's calm down.
What are you thinking? 125, 130?
Steve, come on, man. I understand why you're excited, and there's a lot to be encouraged by, but I think 100 million. Don't slap the pressure on him yet. He had a good game.
Well, I think it's more about the structure of the team. I said this in pre-season. I think it's like we can go and get all the individuals that we want. If the structure of the team isn't right, then the fundamentals we won't work. We'll continue to get beat and have different results week in, week out, and not be able to kind of recognise this team. What I liked about this, this week, and there was a method to the madness, and you said it was a bit kamikaze at times, but they're pushing in and pressing, winning the ball, and you can see the
Is a
traits
fish.
kind of coming out. Win the ball, play forward quickly. If you can't play your first pass forward quickly, then play out, get to one side, drag that team across the pitch, and then Bumo or Ahmad in the second half will be out on the right hand side. So Casemiro, when you get it, I don't want it taking 2 or 3 touches and then a pass and then 3 passes. A raking pass, 30, 40 yards straight out there. Mount done it once or twice as well. It was, you could see there was a method to the madness of what they were trying to achieve, and freeing up one of the wide players on the opposite side where the ball was initially was the target for most of that game to get out. And when you get into the ball to someone like Mbeumo, who showed yesterday, you can get it to me, and if I'm free, I'll be 1v1 and I'll run at the defender and give him a problem. And he's done that numerous times. And I think that those little things becoming patterns, and that's what I said about last season. I was struggling to see regular patterns come out and rear their head on a regular basis. I hope that this is just, again, one game in 5 that we see this. I hope this is continued.
Come on.
And this is born out of a good pre-season where things are being put down.
Whoa, okay.
Rio, how good was Cunha and
All right.
Mbeumo?
Off
They
you
are
go,
a
man.
totally different game to each other, but how dangerous did both of those two look?
It's weird, it's almost like they both had a 35-minute cameos each. Mbeumo in the first half, where he was getting on the ball, and I think his drop-off in the game was probably down to fitness. But he looked a threat immediately. Like, he gave us a different dimension. His positional sense, I thought, was one of the most pleasing things, in where he identified when to stay wide, when to come in the pitch, get back into good shape. But again, when he's on the ball, you can see that he's going to be a threat and ask questions of the defenders. Cunha, I saw a stat yesterday in one of my WhatsApp groups. Someone threw in just as the game started, who questioned whether they would have even bought him because he was top of the list of Premier League players last season walking time. And that did that. I went, oh, actually, would I want to sign a player who walks a lot? But then I watched this game, and he was actually walking past a lot of their defenders. He was waltzing past Ben White. I said yesterday, I think, tweaked to Ham. He kept chasing him, and he is the unpredictable one in our team now. He is the one that when the ball goes to him, you're going, okay,
Don't fight it.
See, where are you going to go now? Because you might go left, you might go right, you might run straight past him. I don't know what you're going to do, but I like
Look
what
at
I'm
you.
seeing. That's how I felt about Cunha yesterday, and I thought if I'm an opposing defender watching what I saw yesterday, minus Sesko, by the way, I'm thinking, oh, this is a different Man United. They've got power, strength, pace, guile, unpredictability. If they keep coming with that, I ain't going to enjoy playing against this. Whereas I don't think teams...
Rio,
Go on.
what noise did you make when you had that little flick round the corner?
But seriously, I just think it's I don't want to get too carried away. It was just nice. It was pleasing that I went on the tour. Steve, we were on the tour. It was pleasing that we'd been on the tour, and some of the stuff we'd seen and we'd been hearing the guys talk about reared its head in the game, and we saw it. Long may it continue.
Would you say that's the first time that you saw the system benefit the squad, benefit the team?
Great question, Joel. I think it's absolutely. There's been every pundit and his dog has sat there and gone, oh, the system isn't fit for the players. And I just was scratching my head with that, right? Of course it's not going to be at that stage. The manager had brought in one player, a left wing back. Like, it wasn't his group of players. Give the man
Pleased to
time
meet you.
to mould the team to players that he sees fit for that formation. Now he's got 5 players in 2 windows that are his. So the team's starting to hopefully starting to grow into a team that actually represents Ruben Amorim's style of football. And that's why when I kept hearing pundits say, oh, the style of football, he's not thinking short term. I've got to keep stressing, right? It's one game, but hopefully we're seeing the benefits of him sticking by his methods while we were going through some pain. And then as I start putting my pieces in there, we'll now start to see the benefits, and hopefully that's where we're going to be in the next coming months.
What I saw immediately last season, which was a difference to Ten Hag, which was, I thought, was very noticeable outside of the going to a back 3. The one thing I noticed with Ruben Amorim's system was it was very, very slow and very deliberate. Like, we were frustratingly slow. And you see the Stretford end kicking off with Onana all the time because it would slow it down every single time he got it. And I felt like it was deliberate. I felt like we were taking a lot more deliberate care to move the ball through the thirds. Yesterday, like Rio's already sort of touched on, the tempo had gone up 5 or 6 levels. And I think that's throwback Manchester United. The very best Manchester United.
Sorry to jump in, Steve. Why is that, Steve? Why is that? Forget tactically. He's already said this because physically they was not at the level last season to play Ruben Amorim style football. They've had a pre-season.
And I'm wondering how impactful this is going to be. A tempo alone, like the patterns, whether it even was patterns properly last season, but the patterns can remain the same. The defending can remain the same. The personnel can remain the same. But if the tempo goes up, you're just going to be more dangerous. It's easier to mark a team that's playing slow and deliberate and moving a little bit, creaky. That when Manchester United are hitting you at 100 miles an hour like they were yesterday, that must have felt relentless at times.
That's the word.
They must have come off the pitch going.
That's the word, Steve. Relentless.
Yeah. And that's, to me, that the best Manchester United teams have had that relentlessness to them, that tempo, that physicality to them. That alone, I think, is going to bring points. We're going to break teams with tempo this year. Now, what did I see that was going wrong? I thought you passed out from the back into our middle like that, like there was nobody there. That, I think, is a major drama. I think we've got to get our pressing shape correct because it felt like it was very, very easy to pass it through. At times, and maybe it's just a little bit of practice, but at times we looked like we were going to press high, and we did. And a couple of quality passes and touches, and it was right through the centre of us. And then there was other times it felt like the distances weren't quite right in front of the defence, and I think that's why we saw so much 1v1 defending from the back three, is because I just didn't think that there was anyone in front of them structurally. Like, I thought Bruno was busy, Casemiro was busy, but again, it feels like there's maybe 5 yards too much of a stretch, or maybe the defence hasn't quite got the confidence in itself to go high yet with it.
Steve, one thing I would say on that, if you're going to be a team that presses high, you've got to be able to play 1v1 on the halfway line. And that's part of the way that if you're going to be a pressing team, it has to work. If you look at Arsenal, they've got 2 absolute beasts at the back, centre-half, and their fullbacks, by the way. The 4 fullbacks they have, by the way. They can all play 1v1 and happy to do it. That's why if they do go on a high press Arsenal and you play over that into your striker, their centre backs, you can see them. They're looking to bully and dominate, and that's what we have to get to. I think Luke Shaw is capable of that.
Straight on, keeping you.
So is Lenny Yoro. A little bit less so maybe the one who plays centre in terms of coming into big areas and spaces, but that's why you've got your 2 Rottweilers, hopefully either side of you in a 3 that you can push in and go, right, you go and deal with them 1v1. And if we get to a point where our 2 wide ones are really confident going out wide, covering channels and going into the central area of the pitch to deal with people 1v1, we become a massive problem because we can really be forward-thinking pressing high up the pitch. And when you win the ball high, we want to know what that leads to. It leads to opportunities and goals.
You guys both spoke about intensity and you love the intensity and how it looks better, which I do agree with. But I'm also a bit concerned when I see Man United because I think, is that not just because it was against Arsenal? You got Fulham next week. We saw how well you showed intensity when you played against teams like Man City last week.
Yeah, you're right.
Is this the real deal, or are we just seeing it? Because let's be honest, as much as we banter, Man United versus Arsenal will always be a big game to those players, especially. Do you think it's easier to show that because it's a big game? Are they going to revert back to what we're used to seeing last season?
I think it's a great point, Joe, and I think it's a really valid point because that was a bit of our undoing. Like, we played some really good moments, or 60 minutes, 30 minutes against the big teams last year, and then got undone. But against some of the lesser known teams, we were getting outfought, outrun, outplayed on numerous occasions where you thought we should be doing better than that. So this season, I think that's a big question mark that has to be answered. Like you say, can we beat the Fulhams and make Fulham look like a team inferior to Manchester United? Can we do that to a lot of the teams around the ilk of Fulham? That's going to be the big ask, and we just have to wait and see. The signs are very good after the first game for me, but you still need to see it play out.
Do you agree? Do you reckon it was just more because it was against Arsenal, or do you reckon you've actually turned a corner when it comes to this intensity?
No, I don't think it was anything to do with the fact it was Arsenal. I don't think anything to do with the fact it was Arsenal. I don't think it was anything to do with the fact it was opening day. I thought that there was things in that performance, there were traits in that performance that are repeatable traits. And it wasn't a case of like, people want to distill football down to so much bait, like they were up for it. What sort of analysis is that? Like,
Because that's what happens.
Name names,
because
name
it's-
names,
it's not-
Steve,
let's
name
not-
names.
Let's not. No, Steve.
anyone
Steve,
who wants
let's,
to talk sport.
yeah, let's be honest here. It is very possible, and that's what happens with footballers. If you've played any game, it doesn't even have to be at a professional standard. When there's certain teams you're playing against, you're more up for it. That's what happens. That's football.
Yeah, but I think the manner of that performance, there was repeatable traits in there that I think that there's a reason. Like Rio started it with it. United fans are coming away happy, and Arsenal fans are coming away a little bit gutted. And let's talk about Arsenal, because I said you changed the structure of this team. You take
He did.
Havertz out.
He did.
You put Zubimendi and Rice in. Declan Rice was an absolute goat yesterday. Where was he? I'm missing that guy. No one knows where he is. And I tell you what, how do you cope spending so much money on a striker? How do you talk about needing to get a goal-scoring striker in? You spend all that money on Victor Gyökeres and then don't even play him at Old Trafford. What's going on with that?
Steve, I know what you're doing here. You're fishing and looking for a response. You have to remember, he's also not fit yet. This is his third game. He came in late to the Arsenal squad because of when the transfer happened. When you're looking at the Mbeuemos, the Cunhas, they've had a little bit more time than him. And at the same time, you're playing against Manchester United away at Old Trafford. It's not going to be an easy game, man.
But the team that came 15th last year, that's had more losses than whatever.
It's like a derby, Steve. When we play you, all of that stuff goes out the window. It's about winning, and sometimes it doesn't matter how you win. So I looked at Victor Gyökeres. The crosses didn't look really good, I'll be honest with you, but he tried to put himself about. You know, he's going to need a little bit of time to settle in.
Yeah, that's what you signed him for. That's what you signed, this absolute bagsman, 50-goal a season striker.
And that's why you signed Mbeuemo. And that's why you signed Mbeuemo. And he had chances and he didn't concern.
I thought all your team needed was to score goals.
No, but Mbeuemo is there to score goals as well. Where was his goals yesterday? He had chances.
Your team came second last couple of years. You
couldn't bag him.
Perfect. Final piece of the jigsaw, you said. Final piece.
Yeah.
And you know what? Joel.
It don't matter, do you know? Because when you look at that board, when you look at the table at the moment, it's 3 points for us and 0 for you. So all we have to do is go into next week and you keep on building with what he's done. You saw him in a friendly last week against Bilbao. You saw him. He knows where the goal is. He just needs a bit of time against these Premier League teams. It's one game, Steve.
Yeah, but what I saw coming into the season, you changed Havertz. What's happened in that game? You didn't have possession. Arsenal are a team that hold possession. You came to Old Trafford, you got possession taken off you. Why? Because you didn't have the outlet. Gyökeres is not holding the ball up in the same way that Havertz was holding it for you. And also, you've lost Thomas Partey. You've now got someone that's a little bit neater on the ball. You are not the same team. Say goodbye to second. You peaked and didn't even win anything.
Wow.
Congratulations. You are now looking at 4.
Steve said, say goodbye to second. Wow.
Steve, you have to remember, season amongst season, you keep on making these shouts. And the only thing
season on season, I'm absolutely bang on. Yeah,
not really, because how many times have we had this thing where you go, oh, Arsenal are going to fall off here and they're going to fall off there.
How many times have you won the
all
league?
We've done,
how many times have you come in with a Premier League trophy? This is ours.
Are you going to let me
How many
finish?
times have you ended up at the end of the season with no cake, with no cigar, with no sunglasses, and no Premier League title?
He's not far wrong, Joe, you know. Serious.
Are you going to let me finish? No, bruv. Listen, the sunglasses are always there, bruv. We just bring them out at the right time. All right? I'm going to be calmer this season. All I'm saying is we need to give him time. And I do actually think Gyökeres is going to do well for us. It's just, again, it's the Premier League. It's a high-intensity game. You came out against one of the best Man United performances that I've seen in years. So
I think with Gyökeres, I think you got to look at him and go, right, okay, where are his attributes best suited on the pitch, and where does he cause problems? If you look at yesterday in isolation, running the channels is something he looks like he's good at and he enjoys. Yeah. He's physically capable of doing that. I think he's still going to have to get fitter. He'll have to spend more training sessions and more games to see the best out of him physically. But playing him in the channels and running. So away from home, more often than not, that's going to happen. Somewhere like at the Emirates, where they dominate possession, if they dominate possession. If you look at this as the season analogy, if they dominate possession and pen teams back, home or away, is that going to suit his game? Are Arsenal going to ask him to be playing in and off him and run as well off him? I don't think so. I think the ask of him is going to be, when the ball gets into the penalty box, where are you going to find space to score goals? And can you execute? How many times do we see Odegaard Saka combination get to the byline, get in the corner of the box, and you just need a number 9 to just finish that chance off? That's where he's going to earn his coin. That's where he's going to get judgment. I think like the playing on the counter attack isn't going to happen too often for Arsenal this season. I wouldn't say, if you're going based on past seasons. They dominate possession most of the time. I take Steve's point, but I think this guy has shown that he can score goals. And the only reason I wasn't willing or wasn't championing taking him to Manchester United was the mere fact that I thought his profile in terms of experience, age, what else is on the market, I thought it was more suited to what Man United needed. But I think he, on the market, what was available, I think he's one of those players you go, I can understand why Arsenal have bought him. So you've got to give him that time. I know you can't judge someone after the first game, especially when he hasn't had a full pre-season at it.
I've got a question here, and I actually want to hear your opinion. This is actually from Irvin from 360 TV. He says he reckons Gyökeres is not that good of a player. He said that all he needs is 5 games, right? And he'll be able to make a full-on conclusion. And his thoughts were, we had a chat about this yesterday after the game, after our live. He said, why is it that all the top teams who needed a striker were not in for him? Why? Why is it that he's outscored more goals than any other striker that's gone around, more than Ekitike, more than Sesko? Why is it that a player like that hasn't been sought after more? And he also reckons that Rio, you and Jolyon, probably didn't think he was that much of a good player in the first place, and you just saw it earlier on. And it's not because he wasn't suited for Man United. You're just being polite. Just putting that out there. That's what he said. But he...
What I kept hearing was, he smashed Man City and he's done this and done that. He played against like an 18-year-old centre half, and Nakanji was out of sorts on the night. And I think 2 of the goals were penalties. So I was saying, calm down. I've watched him live twice, 2 or 3 times, and I watched him against Arsenal. He didn't get a kick against Arsenal, right? So, and they're 2 Premier League teams. I was thinking, I ain't seen enough to warrant people going, he's going to be the saviour. But but my point was, especially for Man United, a dysfunctional Man United, 100%, I didn't see it.
You say that, Rio, but Arsenal could have bought Sesko for 92, 93 million, and they still would have. That sell-on point isn't that valid when you compare that situation. Because who's to say that with the way the prices are going up, that they couldn't have had their value for money if it was Sesko? We didn't go for it because we didn't want to spend 92 million.
Or you rang up and he was like,
nah, that's not what happened. But I'm just putting it out there from what the football fans in the world are saying, because obviously I think he's a good player. I think he's going to do well. But that is someone who is not a fan of Gyökeres. He doesn't support any of our teams, so he doesn't have that bias. But it was a very good question, I thought, that was asked.
I think he'll score goals, but I think that's not my issue with him. If I'm looking at it from a purely analytical point of view, he changes how you play, and I think you're less effective because of that. That's it, simple. But he will score because he's a goal scorer.
Okay, cool.
Right, man, we got loads still to come, right, on this pod, but we'll be back shortly after this. Guys, it's obviously the first game of the season, start of the season. I always say it, I never felt fit until probably 5 or 6 games in minimum. Pre-season, I used to be scared of football and games because you're kind of open to people watching when you're half fit, even less than that at times. And so even after the first game, you're looking at people like the new signings like Gyökeres, who hasn't trained with his team while he was at Porto, waiting to go to Arsenal. He's now in the building. He's not physically at his premium yet. So I thought no better than to get somebody who's training some of the top class talent around the world during their off season to get them ready to when they go back in pre-season. An old friend of mine, Dan Edwards, is joining us now. How you doing, Dan?
Morning, mate. I'm good. Yourself?
We're waking up now talking about fitness and physicality, sharpness at this stage of the season. One part of the game that's like grown massively over the years is that off season and players kind of utilizing their own coaches and building a team around them. You're one of those guys that a lot of the players lean on. Tell us a few of the names that you work with, and how does that go about? The player go about getting someone like yourself on board?
I've been fortunate enough to work with a few big players, Trent, Camavinga, Jules Koundé, Welsh, Youngie, the United boys, and yeah, it's changed over sort of the last 3 to 5 years. It's become a lot more glamorous, the use of social media, but whether it's through players direct contacting me or agents, it's a lot more visible now, especially during the off season. I think the work that I especially do during the season, in season, is a bit more private, not really for the cameras. However, you'll see a lot of players post their off-season training programs on their social media, and there's lots of coaches similar to me that run off-season training camps for players.
What are the clubs like with that? Because I always look at it and think, if I was a club, would I mind it? And I think when I played, clubs didn't really allow for that to happen so much. You had to do it on the quiet if you did do it. But if I was a football club now, I would actually want to have dialogue with that coach just to understand what they're doing and just to kind of give them what we are doing, and which we can come to a place of harmony where we're making sure that the players getting the best of both worlds.
It's hit and miss, to be honest. I mean, I've worked with players from League Two to United and Madrid, and depending on sort of the S&C medical department, it depends on sort of how much information they want from the players and from yourself. To be honest, during the off season, it's not as demanding for the players. They're set their runs. You see a lot of things, I'm not going to start moaning about, but you see a lot of things on Instagram from Instagram coaches, what I call them, where they're battering players and they're running them through all these types of drills. Whereas the off season for me is just about maintenance. It's just about getting the players ready for pre-season. So some of the clubs, I mean, Madrid and Liverpool are the two clubs that I've dealt with recently. They're very hands-on and want sort of reports and give you very detailed off-season training programs, sort of minute to minute, day by day. Some of the other clubs just set the runs, and it's down to you to run whatever you feel comfortable running.
How much do you sort of think what your job is injury prevention, like prehab, to make them strong enough for the demands of the game? And how much do you think is like stretching their abilities in the strength and conditioning of their fitness?
The most important thing for me personally is player safety. It's my job isn't to make the player a better player. I'm only with them sort of during the off season, and then when I'm working with them during the season. So it's about injury prevention. It's just about maintenance work, and I think that's where you'll get. There's obviously going to be injuries are inevitable, and there's been press recently about a player getting injured, which I'm sure we'll discuss. But during the off season, it's just about coaches doing maintenance work and ticking the players over to make sure that they're in top condition for when they start pre-season.
You're obviously working with the players, and it's maintenance work, as you call it, and you're working with them during the off season and during the season itself. But isn't this something that clubs should be doing more internally, or are you happy with the fact that they give you more freedom to do it in your own space? Because you're going to have some people that go, hang on a minute, what's he do with him over there? Is he doing it right? Is he doing it the way the club would want to do it? What's your thoughts when you hear things like that?
I completely get both sides, and I've been working with players individually now for about 6 years, so I've kind of seen the progression, and especially with the rise in social media. But I think where it's become a bit more glamorous now, and people are trying to take advantage of it, where the Netflix documentary, The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, the documentaries with LeBron James and Steph Curry, where it's not frowned upon in the US. 82% of NBA players have their own private coaches, and 74% of NFL players have their own private coaches. It's not frowned upon in the US because they take it that seriously. By all means, it would be ideal if the clubs only work with their players and players only work with the coaches at their clubs. However, there may be 5% at the top clubs, and there's 25 players. Each player has to have their own program, and what you will see the old school coaching, if we're talking about pitch-wise, the centre forward can do their finishing, and you'll get 4 or 5 players, extra box, set it in, they set back, and that's the striker's finishing. However,
that's what Steve does.
However, for my role, when I'm working with forwards, it's where do they take, and basing it on stats, where do they take most of their touches in the box?
You know I
One
love
touch or 2 touch, what part is it on the right side, is it on the left side, right, or left, or left? Repetition, replicating what they actually have to do in the game. So I think it's trying to give them a more tailored program rather than a generic program that can't do, which they're amazing, but players want individual training.
And one manager who had a bit of a problem with it was Paul Heckingbottom, who's the Preston North End manager. And he was really critical of coaches like yourself, of coaches players outside. So one of his players got injured doing just that. How do you kind of rebuff his criticism of coaches like yourself outside of the club?
I mean, I understand his frustration. The coach he was talking about, Tom, I know really well.
Good for you, boy.
For a number of years, he's running his own.
You're okay. You're okay.
I know
Nothing we can't handle. We can stop
it was a knock where his foot hit something and he's hurting his ankle. So there's always a chance. There's the freak injuries where a player got injured stretching for their remote. So these are inevitable, but as long as the communication is right and on point, then the main aim is to try and make the player as good as you can.
You've worked with these guys like Trent and Camavinga, Mbeumo, the new sign of the Man United, and plus many others. What's the most common thing these guys would ask of you as a coach outside of the club during the season, especially?
I think the service I like
Okay,
to provide
boy.
is
You good?
a tailored service for the players and individual program where they're going to be doing replicating, whether it's in the gym or on the pitch. It's going to be position specific and it's going to be player specific. So, if it's, like I said, working with a forward, it has to be sort of their side of the pitch in the area. It has to be, and 90% of this is unopposed. So I can already hear or imagine the comments about you're going to be getting players injured and it's overused. I understand the load, GPS, the stats behind it in terms of understanding a player's
Easy there.
rest and recovery. These players during the season are used to a structure, and although they may be finishing or they might be position-specific training with their team, they want to do stuff on their own where they're comfortable making mistakes in their own environment. And whether it's me going to the house and working with them gym or working in their garden, and obviously it's their gardens are like kitchens anyway, but it's just about repetition so that when they're in training, they're not making these little errors. The coach sees the end goal, they might see an assist or they might see a finish. However, my setting point, my attention to detail of how can you improve the first touch or your body position or your hip movement so that you can get it 2 times accurate instead of getting a 1 out of 100.
We're talking about like ATG
Whoa, now.
sort of stuff. We're talking like loads of Nordics, like ankle stability and strengthening, like specifics. What are we working on with the players?
It does depend on the players, to be honest, and I think that's the difference between some of the lower league teams, why some of their players will have individual coaches because they just don't have the staff. You'll see
Slow now.
online vacancies for SEC or medical departments that need numbers, especially in the lower teams. and that's why they go to individual coaches, and it varies depending on their fitness levels. You don't need to do anything with their fitness levels. Sharpness sometimes is, what I mean by that is just a little, I always use centre forward because it's easy to compare, but if we're doing neutral positions, they might be 3 yards away from goal, but you're playing the ball across them and you're going with their weaker foot, and it's that repetition where they're strengthening their ankle and they're just touching the ball inside the foot into the goal, and there's so many opportunities where you see the ball in the 6-yard box and a player should score, but they overhit it, or they get under the ball, or they mishit it, and it's having that repetition. It's so basic, but it's making sure that the player knows the moment you're painting pictures, they're in a certain area. 9 times out of 10, everyone's expecting you to score. If the ball's in the 6-yard box, it's bound to be a problem. But how many clubs spend time doing the basics like that when it's just one specific player? And then you're looking at, you're doing it with the inside of it, you're doing it with the 80s, and you're just trying to repeat all of these potential scenarios so that when it happens in a game, you're confident and the player is confident, which is key, that they know they're going to finish it.
Well, listen, man, long may continue to come down and watch a couple of sessions next pre-season, man.
Yeah, you're going to start coming again.
Have you been here 2 times before?
Wi-Fi's gone, I can't hear you.
Well, listen, man, Dan, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate your time and keep up the good work.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good day.
One team that I want to speak about where obviously we've been focusing, a lot of us have been saying, oh, Liverpool win the league, it's Liverpool's to lose, etc. Manchester City were on fire this weekend. I mean,
Settle.
it looked like they didn't miss the legend who is Kevin De Bruyne because they had Reinders who for 50 million looked like an absolute bargain.
Well, I knew Reinders was a good player because I've seen him play for Holland and I've seen him play in Milan and very good player, really good move, get box to box. Didn't see the pass that he produced for one of for the first goal, by the way, we put it across the Haaland, he just dinked it over the defence. I didn't know he had that finesse around the box like that. But he's ability to move around and find space in the midfield area. He's really comfortable. He just looked like he fitted in and slotted in so seamlessly. It was just lost De Bruyne. Not that they've got another De Bruyne, but they've got someone who can impact this team. And he looked super comfortable. And Cherki, I think, could be one of the buys of the season at the price they got him, how cheap he was. Just for pure, being like a throwback Maverick type player. We'd seen what he's done in France. Can he transfer that to the Premier League? That's the big question with him. But there's no doubt in my mind that in terms of skill set and unpredictability and pure cheekiness, he's going to be definitely one to watch that you go, actually, I don't mind turning the TV on, even though it is Man City, just to see if he's producing any runs. Because he's got that much imagination and that much kind of audacity. He can embarrass many, many defenders this year. And City, you look at the players that weren't playing yesterday, they still smashed the ball. You know, Rodri and Foden in the stands, just to name 2. Hey! I mean, Aki, Vardiol, like, there's a lot of players not playing still in that team. Even more. They got depth in that squad, and they're going to be in the shake-up, no doubt.
I have to say something that interesting. You mentioned Cherki. First of all, we could end up paying better value for money than that's one shot I've got, even though he's only bought. But I do think he's an interesting one because he's not a Pep Guardiola type of player. Now, usually when you see him playing, running back is not his best attribute. And we all know what playing for a Pep Guardiola side, you need to be able to run back or you will be made an example of. Do you think he's going to humble himself in this team? Or do you think he's going to carry on being the Maverick that he is?
Bayern, there's no cheaters. They've got world-class players all over the gap. Barcelona had world-class players. The only one allowed to half take a little breather was Messi, but because he knew what he was about. He's the best, one of the best, if not the best players of all time. So Cherki, I don't think you look at it like that. I think you look at it like, well, what do you get out of someone like Mahrez, who was a mercurial talent, crazy talent? Can you get anything like the output that he was producing? You know, is he going to be disciplined enough? That's the big question for me. Will he be disciplined disciplined enough to play in a position where it's more beneficial for the team than the individual himself. And that's what Jack Grealish ended up doing. But he Jack Grealish was never the Aston Villa Grealish at Man City. But the geezer won trophies, and I would go as far as to say that we spoke to a lot of the City players where they appreciated the way that Jack Grealish played for Man City. Did he help them to get over the line to win the trophy when he was there? They're saying that he played a big role in that. It might not be the Grealish that we wanted to see, but it's the Grealish that Guardiola and the squad needed to win trophies that they did. To get that out of Chelsea, us people that want to see Mavericks might be disappointed and go, what's going on? Where's out of the crowd? But if he's winning trophies and Pep's getting what he wants out of him, then that means doubling down on the he plays. Works for City, then so be it.
Clearly not the Grealish that Pep wanted to get out of my boy.
Easy
Say that,
now.
but what I mean is that he was still playing. When they won the treble, they were still playing.
Yeah, that was a really good season. Obviously the most important season, and that was his best season. I was actually looking at his stats the other day, and I liked him. And I think even for England, in the cameos he was having in Euros 2020, I thought incredible. But it just hasn't worked out. We can put our hands up and say he's best form. Hopefully he can do well for Everton and get the free.
Can I just go on that point with Grealish though? Because a lot of people do say this, yeah, and a lot of people that say this, just like you just said, you started that sentence with I'm looking
Easy
at stats.
now.
Stats aren't the telling thing for every single player. It's not like we're becoming we're not the NFL or the NBA where stats are just the absolutes to what defines the player. I think that with Jack Grealish, I think there's certain players, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him. All I'm saying is that I think when you speak to City players, why do you like Jack Grealish in your team? And I think I can give you quite a few points as to why they like him in his team. Haaland 100% would like him in his team. That's one.
Hey, easy.
Grealish brings to a free most of the time. Because they know what he's capable of. He holds onto the ball longer than most players. He's one of the only players allowed to do that in the City team. Why? Because he drags players over to him, which will enable there to be space somewhere else, which City other players can exploit. Sometimes there's a reason why players are in the team, and it's not necessarily for stats. There's other reasons why they're there.
So why isn't Pep kept him then if he's so good?
Because I don't think it's just about necessarily just football. I think there's other reasons to it. Yeah, he may not be playing as well as he
All right,
before.
my boy.
But he's had a few injuries as well, and maybe the manager wants to freshen it up. He's been there, he's done it. He's won things. Maybe Jack needs a new adventure, a new chapter to freshen himself up. Maybe the squad needs a few.
Easy there.
That's reasonable. I think he had a purpose as to why he was there and what he done. It wasn't just about scoring goals and making assists.
The words of Stephen House said. Anyway,
I just want someone to defend me as hard as Rio defended that.
yeah.
You never defended that hard for United, Rio.
But you know what, at the same time, I've said all I've said there, yeah, and I still think Jack Grealish, sit back when he's finished playing his career, and I've said this loads of times, and go, my best football weren't at City, but I won everything. So, I can't be too despondent about that. And I think that the enjoyment factor wasn't there like he had at Villa. The ability to be free and play with a freeness wasn't there. I hope he gets that back now at Everton. But there was a means to why he was doing what he was doing. You have to say there's a certain amount of humility and actual, you know what, sacrifice a lot of what he loved about the game for the betterment of the team. Can we not respect that? Hard to do that, you know.
Guys, I want to say thank you very much for watching the Real Brother Presents channel. This weekend has been content firing out. If you haven't seen the live from yesterday, you get the real raw emotions. Obviously, you guys got interviews coming up. We've got more interviews coming up too, right? Do you have any names for us? Or?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we got one with Wayne Rooney coming soon. We got one with Michael Owen. The Michael Owen one, both of them are bangers. I've got to say, you see both of these guys in different lights, especially Michael Owen, who I know Michael from as a kid, and he's a funny guy, a lot of confidence.
subscribe, turn on your notifications. We are back. The boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. Joe Bayer, Stephen Howson, Rio Ferdinand, back for a big season on Rio Ferdinand Presents. Signing out.
Slow now. Hey, friend.
따사로운 햇살 속에서 종소리가 울려 퍼지네. 뺨을 메만지는 바람, 한숨만은 깊어져만 가고, 저 멀리서 핑 도는 눈물 이름을 붙여주네. 포개어지는 미래 빛라인. 전진한 말하니
Ready, boy?
지나서 날아갈 정도로 웃었던 날도 사랑스럽고 소중하게 키울 수 있게.
Hey, hey, easy.
어렵고 힘들었던 시간을 넘어서 아주 많은 처음을 주었잖아. 이어져가서는
Hey, up. Settle.
신이 나서 날아갈 정도로 웃었던 날도 사랑스럽고 소중하게 키울 수 있도록 어렵고 힘들었던 시간을 넘어서 아주 많은
Blow
처음을
it.
주었잖아. 이어져 가서는 전진난만한 이런 기분도 신이 나서 날아갈 정도로 웃었던 날도 사랑스럽고 소중하게 키울
Easy now.
어렵고 힘들었던 시간을 넘어서 아주 많은 처음을 주었잖아. 이어져 가서는
Whoa now.
Easy. Whoa.
Drop top, feel the raindrop.
Hey, hey, easy.
You feel the noise we shout. 그 빛을 잃은 눈을 감아줘. 거침없게 꽉 밟아두어대. 더 높이 외쳐 in the name of love. Drop top, drop top, feel the raindrop. In the rearview they saying oh my God. What's up, tear the roof down. Till the sunrise, 저기 별을 향해 ride. Drop top, feel the raindrop. In the rearview they saying oh my God. What's up, tear the roof down. Till the sunrise, 저기 별을 향해 ride. I wanna take you for a ride. 이 세상 위로 매 순간 속 just live your life.
Settle. Let up. One more time, boy. You're my horse. That'll fill a hole. Settle down, okay?
Welcome to this episode of Rio Ferdinand Presents, guys. Yes, we've had the big weekend, the first weekend of Premier League football just gone on. Man United have been beat by Arsenal. We're going to discuss that with my guys, Mr. Joel Bayer and Steve Howson. But one of the things that is quite crazy about this first weekend, in Man United and Arsenal especially, Man United fans are quite positive after a 1-0 defeat, me included. Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are diving into the biggest transfer saga of the summer.
Okay, partner.
Alexander Isak and Newcastle Loggerheads. We don't know who is telling the truth. We don't know what story is true. We don't know what ex-player is telling the truth or knows what he knows is the truth. What is the truth?
Here.
That's the problem with these sagas, is that no one actually comes out ever and goes, listen, this is the nuts and bolts of it. And this is exactly what's happening. Now I understand why that is, because the club are protecting their side of things and the players are protecting their side. This is a who blinks first type of scenario. But it looks like obviously a player trying to force a move and a club trying to get absolute value for money. So I want to get into this. I want to break this down from every angle because there's a lot of nuances here. First, let's talk about the agent. We all see the players.
Good hunt. You selling?
But let's not forget.
Oh, what do you have for me?
What the agent did, what he achieved.
All right, let's have a look.
Well, it took Isak from Zaragoza and brought him to Newcastle for £65 million, by the way. A good amount of money. They secured a 6-year contract.
It's been a real pleasure doing business with you.
Okay, let's take a look at it.
That he's actually struck salary, I would argue. They secured his family and their financial future, which is great. So the agent did his job.
Here we go, boy.
Life-changing. But where did it all go wrong? That's the big question. The £110 million question, if that's the number that we're looking at, talking about. The core issue, it seems to me, is the Arsenal price. That's where I think that both camps are meeting in the middle. I understand that the players' feelings that he was promised to move. Promise, for me, unless down on a bit of paper, means absolutely nothing in this game of football. And we can talk about, there's a lot of words that get bandied about loyalty, honesty, the gentleman's agreement, and all this stuff. There's nothing in this game. That's why
Not the time, my boy.
It doesn't exist. It's on both sides. And that's the one mistake that I think that this actually have maybe kind of got wrong. They place trust in words. Signed it, the number's been met, I'm going. And we know that Newcastle have a huge asking price, and rightly so. He's their asset, and they're going to price him accordingly to what they feel is the value that they demand him. But we know Liverpool have bid £110 million, and I think the question is Is he worth more than that? Do Newcastle value him more than that? And if they're valuing more than that, how much? And is it an outrageous offer? Because that's where then I feel the player gets to go, so I have a problem. And that's the detail that we need to get to. When you look at trouble, you have to ask, is Newcastle's price for argument's sake 150 million or 150 million pounds? Is that realistic? Is that 30 to 50 million pounds? Would you say that? If we're to say yes, it is, I'd like to think we are meeting our and we said that. But now I think where the club, I think should have done better is this conversation that we had as soon as that person left. Now the reasons I'm talking about is, did the person that made the promise who left the football club tell the people that by the way, one of our best players, we should want to take that up, we want to maybe start talking about that now, maybe in January, so you don't have this problem in the transfer in the summer where there's little time, pressure's on, and you're doing it in the public now, and they're airing the dirty room. That's been, I think that's been a big mistake. And I think you've got to look at things like player power, whatever it's verbal agreements. The player that's refusing to play, refusing to train. This is a last resort situation. I've been there, I've got to be honest with you, and I get it. I was at Leeds. Manchester United coming with a world record bid for me. But astronomical amount of money. Now the difference is, again, the nuance with this was that I knew that Leeds needed to sell it for financial reasons. But they were angling out for a bit more money. And I was saying, no, I want to go, I need to go now. I want to go and get involved in pre-season and train. I was willing to go to the Peter Ridsdale office, the CEO at the time, and sit there and wait as long as it takes for him to agree for me to go. You're not going to hold me here because you want a few more million. You're getting a huge amount of money, and you're not going to price me out of the market.
Looking to trade a pelt or two there.
And
Right, let's see.
You need to sell me. I want to go and win trophies. Manchester United want to be the best manager in the world.
Hope you're not expecting much for it. Okay, let's take a look at it.
So I was willing to do that, and mine didn't actually go public in that side. I was very, very committed in my mind to try to go public.
Right, let's see.
Now, not every player's going to do that. Not every player has to impersonate a character or something like that. I was willing to do it by myself going to Man United when they came in for me. And I knew that the fans would go through that. saw this with Gyökeres situation where there was a verbal agreement. Yes, guys, welcome to this episode of Rio Ferdinand Presents, and we are here. We've got the band back, man. With the band are back. Steve and Joel in the house for the new season. New settings, but same old story, man. Ups and downs, highs and lows, crazy expectations, delusion, the lot. You're going to get it all this season. But what I would say before we get into our season predictions and whatnot, we're coming a day later. We dropped the interview with Harry Maguire while we was on tour. We done the interview with him, and a really, really good interview, mate. I've got to be honest with you, I was actually a little bit nervous going into it, just based on the history between us that was unspoken, but still there, if you know what I mean, guys.
He came and stuck it on me and McCullough in the mix zone.
Did he?
One of the games, yeah. He didn't say anything, but he just came over and just said, "How you doing?" But name checked us both, and we both went like that.
Really?
Weird.
Did he have a stern face on when he said it, or did he look you in the eyes? What did he say?
No, he was being pretty chill, pretty friendly. McCullough's just done a 180 on him, and he's like, "I'm all Harry Maguire in now," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
No, you know what? It was actually good to do it. I think obviously we talk about roller coasters in careers or in times at clubs, but he's had that. He's gone from being like a ridiculous, huge fee to get there, and then goes to be captain. And then the captaincy's taken off him. He's been ridiculed. He's been memes galore. Like, just to get into all of that and add to that, pundits like myself and others have been critical of him. Just how he's dealt with all of that stuff and just going. And I had to ask those kind of difficult questions in that sense. Like, what's it like when someone like myself is talking about you, and how do you react to the media? What was his toughest moment coming to the club? And while he was going through them moments, he goes into that in quite